Thank you very much, Mr. Paul, and let me recognize the presence of my friend and colleague, Honourable Justin Charles, Mr. Murray, who is the President of the Association of Music Professionals, Mr. Bob, who is the PRO, and other executive members of the Association of Music Professionals, and we have our friend from Dexia, who is the officer responsible for Craig Stedman, who is responsible for the implementation of the policies with regards to services and the export of services. And of course, to you, the media present, and to the listening public. We felt it necessary to engage the media and, of course, the wider public on this very important initiative. As was indicated by the previous speakers, this is a commitment which the government made to the music professionals when we engaged them in discussions, in very open and very candid discussions on the state of the music industry in Dominica. There were concerns which I raised with them, and there were concerns which I raised with me, and we agreed jointly on an approach towards addressing the concerns with a view to improving the state of the music industry and ensuring that those involved in the industry can make a living out of it, and of course the wider economy of Dominica can benefit. And we put in place a task force to advise the government on some of the actions which we should be taking in improving this. So today we're here to implement or to announce one of those aspects which have been identified, that is training. Training is critical. And as was indicated, the first training will take place this month, and the second will take place next month. The government has left it absolutely to the music professionals to determine the areas of training that they believe they need. So it is not an imposition of the government on the association or the professionals. They themselves are engaging themselves on the training they require. We've allowed them to identify the persons, the professionals to come in to facilitate the training. They are involved in putting the program together. Where we come in is to provide the financing required to cause these things to happen. And the government of Dominica will underwrite all the expenses associated with these two training exercises, and the others which will follow in the next weeks and months ahead. That's our firm commitment, because we believe in the government that music ought to be playing a bigger role in its contribution to the country's economy. And I've said to them, and as I've said publicly, the music industry will not help the economy if we take money from Vegas and come to bring it in Roseau or from Grand Bay and spend it in Portsmouth. What we need is foreign exchange. We need musicians to go out there into St. Thomas, into St. Martin, into the United States, in Europe, and have some gigs there, have some performances, and bring in the US, bring in the pounds, bring in the euros into the banks. Foreign exchange, it impacts positively on the economy, and we can see a greater contribution to the GDP. When the CARICOM negotiated the European Union for the Economic Partnership Agreement, the EPA, we spent several months fighting the European Union to include in the EPA the area of services. Because CARICOM recognized, and Dominica also recognized, that it would be difficult for CARICOM to compete on matters of commodities. We have to be frank with ourselves. Cost of manufacturing in our islands are higher, labor is higher, and all these issues. And we felt that in services we had an opportunity to compete. Not that we have the competitive edge, but we have an opportunity to compete. And music forms part of this services industry. And this is why the government went on and created a specific unit within the Ministry of Trade, the Economic Partnership Agreement Unit, dealing exclusively with the implementation of the EPA. And what the Cabinet has said to the Ministry of Trade very clearly, that we should not seek to take advantage of every opportunity which the EPA affords Dominica, but we should focus on specific areas where we believe we can take advantage of and benefit our country. And one of the clear instructions was in the area of services. So your focus should be heavily on services. Not that we want to focus on other areas, but services critically. In the national export strategy, services is also clearly articulated there as an area of national priority, as an area where our citizens can take advantage of, or country can take advantage of. And this is why you realize that the Dexia has become mindful of this and are now paying attention to this, because prior to this, Dexia was really looking at commodities, dry goods, agricultural produce to export out of Dominica. Today, Dexia is speaking about services and working with music professionals, and to see how we can all collaborate and go under the Dominica banner. Not about one band or group of bands, but under the Dominica banner, Dominica name, and take advantage of the opportunities which are out there and which you can benefit from. But for us to be able to compete, for us to gain the attraction of the international promoters, we have to be professional. Because you never know where the scouts are. The scouts might very well be in a village feast and hear a good sound. That's how Rihanna was captured out in Barbados, and that's how people are discovered in their own local communities, performing in a professional manner. So we have to ensure that at every opportunity we get to perform, whether it is in Ansdeme or whether it is in Fête Isidore in Granby in the month of June or May, is it May? In May, or whether it's a flower show between the 4th and 8th of June, we have to exhibit professionalism. The gig starts at 8 o'clock, the musicians should be on stage at 8 o'clock. You cannot walk in at 10 o'clock at night with your guitar in a bag, and then you have to come and plug and testing, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We will not get anywhere beyond the shores of Dominica if that's how we're going to do it. So the idea is not only to criticize, but also to look at where the gaps are and to provide the opportunities. And this is what we're doing today, offering all of us the opportunity as musicians, the opportunity to get trained, to be exposed to international best practices, and to see how we can add this to the exceptional raw talent which we have in Dominica. Dominicans are very, very talented. I mean, and I think if we can bring greater focus to the industry, and I believe that we can take greater advantage of the opportunities that are out there in the world. So we have to ensure that all of us take advantage of training opportunities. It is open, as far as I know, to everybody who is prepared to be part of it. And let me give a word of caution to me. You might be a very popular person in Dominica, a very popular singer. You might be one of the best vocalists in the country and so on. You only stop learning when you're dead. So there's always something that somebody else can teach you. There's always something new that you can learn. So let us not beat our chest and say that I know this, I have know this, I have performed in Berlin, I've performed in Paris, I've performed in Guadalajara, I've performed in Martinique, I've performed in Barbados, and therefore I do not need this thing. Everybody needs training. Everybody needs to have to continue to learn. So I would really urge you out there to take advantage of this opportunity. Where you have people who are internationally renowned, high reputation, exceptionally trained, coming to share with us in Dominica those opportunities. So I really want to commend Mr. Bob and Mr. Marie and the executive of the Association of Music Professionals for continuing to push for greater attention, for continuing to push for greater professionalism. And I give the musicians the assurances that we're not in the government here about talking about this thing. We're very serious about it. And this is why I am personally overseeing, in initial stages, the interventions that are required to get our music to be at a particular level. And I want us to take charge of this and so forth. Because one of the things that we have to recognize, in order for us to take advantage of the EPA, in order for us to take advantage of the free movement of musicians within CARICOM, for example, there's the issue of certification. We cannot show up at an immigration desk because we have a guitar and people assume that we are musicians and so on. There are many people walking the streets of Dominica with a guitar and who cannot play the guitar and so on. I mean, I'm sure many of us know people who you know, moving around, you know, and we go, you know, and nobody can play the guitar. So you cannot show up and so there has to be issue of certification. Because I would like to one day, for all of us who consider ourselves to be musicians in whatever different aspects of the industry, that we have a certificate that we can show that, look, I am certified, I am recognized by this institution. This is where we're going to take it. You know, this is where we're going to take it. But it has to start with us. The individual must make a conscious decision that he wants to be or she wants to be part of this effort. It is open to everybody, and we have to take it forward. This government has provided financing to a number of individuals and groups in Dominica over an extended period of time. You know, in the procurement of musical equipment, instruments. Sorry, in the recording of songs. We have been supporting financially by way of grants to a number of bands in Dominica. We don't say this publicly, we don't go boasting about this publicly, but over the years we have been doing so on a number of occasions, either directly from the Office of the Prime Minister or for the Small Business Unit. I announced at the annual shareholders meeting of the Aid Bank that the government intends to set up a special loan facility at the Aid Bank directed at musicians and the music industry in Dominica. And all I will say at this time is that it will be certainly more than the $500,000 which we announced in the budget. And our hope is that we will be able to lend to the musicians at a concessionary rate, so much lower than you will get at the commercial banks or the other financial institutions. But as I discussed with the Association of Music Professionals, there must be conditions. You see, in this way, sometimes people do not like the idea of conditions. There has to be responsibility. Everybody in this country must take responsibility for himself first, and for his country and for his family. So there will be conditions. We have not concluded on all of the conditions. We will be hearing from the association themselves as to what some of the conditions they would like government to consider in placing on these loans. But one of the conditions I believe which should be there and must be there is that you would have to go through a process of training. Demonstrate that you're serious. If you're serious about your well-being, if you're serious about your future, if you're serious about your job, you should be part of these training programs. And I believe that there has to be some commitment on your part that is serious. So it's not about just going to the Aid Bank and get $100,000 and that's it. You know, it has to be part of a process. It has to be part of the whole strategy which we have in the National Export Strategy and the Growth and Social Protection Strategy of the government, and of course the vision and the thinking of the musicians themselves. So I'm very happy to be part of this press conference today, and to indicate that there is much more we can make from music in Dominica. And it is a concern to me that we're not taking sufficient advantage of it. The issues of management of bands, the issues of management of artists, you know, too many artists are managing themselves, you know, and too many bands are managing themselves. And then you make a booking with the manager, and then one person in the band breaks the contract because he feels that the manager should not have negotiated on the behalf. So all of these things. Now, I will say that the government is a major sponsor of activities across Dominica. We sponsor a number of village feasts, and all of the bands and artists are utilized by the village organizing committees to play and to sing. You know, and the Creole Music Festival, we've been, as far as practically possible, utilizing local artists. But while I am there trying to push for local artists to be on the Creole Festival, the complaints come to me from the Creole music people, in that our artists are demanding what time they should play. You know, I don't want to play at 9 o'clock. I want to play at 12. I want to play before Casa or after Casa. You see, instead of saying, well, look, I get an opportunity to be on this international stage, I am singing on the same platform with Kassav or on an international band, and this is good for my CV. So all those things that we have to be mindful about, that for us to make it, there has to be humility. For us to make it, that there has to be respect. For us to make it, we have to understand, without a client base, we can be the best artists ever, we will not make it. We also have to look at the quality of our lyrics. You know, Dominica per capita may have the most calypsonians than anywhere in the world. But when 10 o'clock comes on a Tuesday night, most of the songs are dead. You know, we get our ashes next morning and that's it. You know, we only singing for 2 days of carnival or 2 weeks of carnival. But should we not be writing for export? You know, should we not be writing for export? You know, somebody hear a couple of songs, you know, calypso, and they want to get exposed. You know, yes, we may go to New York and get a part payment for performances and so forth, but that's how it should be. Our friend there is promoting local calypso in New York, but is it only to the Dominican population? Why aren't we going to other places? You know, so I'm saying that the efforts being made, but it has to be beyond the Dominican market. It has to be for the entire world to enjoy. You know, somebody was saying, an artist was saying to me some weeks ago that they have seen a drop in the share of the market for bouillon in the Caribbean. People are not hearing our bouillon anymore. We have dropped dramatically. What are the reasons for this drop? Is it because there are too many fragmentation of the bands in Dominica? You know, so we have to really look to see how we can take advantage of it. It's a start. It's an opportunity for us to regroup, or it's an opportunity for us to recognize that our marketplace is beyond Dominica. Dominica is not our marketplace only. The world is our marketplace, and therefore we must be able to reach out to the world and make greater use of it. Because I would like to see millionaires, you know, within the music industry. People who are making a lot of money, who can employ people, and who can go out there on a regular basis, spend 200 days out of Dominica, making money, sending it back home to the bank accounts, and really making a contribution to the economy. Do we have that potential? Do we have the opportunity to do it? The simple answer to these questions is yes. I believe that Dominica is well placed with our Creole, with our knowledge of music, with our history of music, with the talented people that we have, and the opportunities are out there. We now have to reclaim those opportunities, but it must first start with a commitment on ourselves to be professionals. All I can do here, as far as the leader of the country is concerned, is to put policies in place to facilitate that and to provide resources, though limited, to provide resources to improve the talent that we have. At the end of the day, these are business decisions which the professionals must make. We don't get involved in the business decisions. But we have to recognize that you are part of the economy, and I believe from where I sit as Minister of Finance, I believe the music industry should be making a greater contribution. There should be a separate line item in regards to your contribution to the GDP. Separate line item. Look at how much foreign exchange that you brought in. Same as we do for tourism. Separate line item for agriculture. I would like to see going along the road that separate line item in terms of your contribution to the GDP, and certainly it will be a significant one if we work together, if we assist each other, and we together take advantage of the numerous opportunities that are out there in the Caribbean and the wider world. So the monies, we have already procured the tickets for the professionals to come to train. The funds will be transferred to the association's account. They will manage the funds on behalf of the government. So all of the management, all of the oversight, all of the implementation we are leaving it to the association to do. The government is not going to take ownership of this. We're not going to be holding this. All we do is to support and to facilitate where we think we should be facilitating. But the implementation of the strategy, the implementation of the training, all of that will be dealt with by the professionals themselves. I want them to take ownership of it. It's not about the government. It's about us working to improve ourselves, and who can help us, we reach out to them, and if they're willing to help us, let us join forces with them, and let's move the industry forward. So I want to thank the media for being present, and to thank the association for the commitment, because I know in leadership you always get criticized for it. There'll always be people who will not be satisfied, always people who feel like it should be in a different way, but that's life, you know, that's life. But I do not want you yourselves in the association to lose hope. I would like to encourage those of you who are not members of the association to join the association. Best you come in and make your contribution in a franker manner as possible. But it's not going to help you or help the country if each of us is in a separate world, different world from each other. We have to recognize that we have to work together towards addressing it. And what a beautiful time it will be to see some young Dominicans, you know, on the international stage, singing and saying, "I am from Dominica." We have the talent, you know, for this, but we just need to recognize it and to take advantage of it. I will end there and to express my thanks, and I'd always like to. My uncle is a great guitar player, and I will try to play the guitar, but I never was able to do so. I am more into agriculture and planting, so I may very well try to come to training for a day and so on, and see if I can learn something, and maybe in my afterlife be a manager for one of you who might make it to the tops and so forth, and I'll get a better paying job than that'll be Prime Minister of Dominica. But I will end there. But also say that we committed to this. I feel passionate about it. It's something that has been in my mind for a very long time now, and I think everything happens at its own time. And notwithstanding our financial challenges, the commitments which we make, we shall keep them. We shall keep them because it's an important time. And I want to thank Ms. Charles for her usual kind support. Okay, thank you. I think we'll stop there and get your questions and so forth.